Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is going to be my review for the season finale of Penny Dreadful, Season 1, Episode 8, Grand Guignol. And wow, this episode was amazing. I absolutely love this episode. Just wow. I've really been loving this show, and once again, best episode of the season. I said this would happen, and it did. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where the next season goes, because everything about this season, everything about this show, there's not been one thing that I've had a problem with in this show, ever. I've never had one single problem with anything in this show. Every single episode of the show has been amazing. Everything in this show has been absolutely amazing. It's like one of the most flawless shows ever. It is definitely going to be one of my highest rated in my top 10 best TV shows of 2014. I'll say that right now. It definitely is going to be up there, because I just absolutely love this show, and I was really, really into it. So let's just get this episode. So, if you remember, in the last episode, Vanessa told Malcolm that she knew where Mina is, and that she's alive. And basically, Vanessa is telling Malcolm her vision of Tooth and Claw from the theater, and suggests that Mina wants to be found. So, what Malcolm then does is that he figures... Malcolm figures that the vampires are seeking a new den, since he and the others fought them at the ship, and vows to save his daughter if he can, but kill her if he can't. And he goes to contact the others so they can break into the theater after it closes that night. And Vanessa thumbs around her tarot cards, but then hesitates, sensing something, and it's Sembine coming in. Vanessa tells him to escort Dorian in. So, yeah, this is very interesting right away. They're going to go to the theater and everything. What I like about this episode is the episode starts off pretty quietly, and then it gets more intense as it goes on. Like, that's the way to do it. So Dorian comes in, and as we know, Dorian and Vanessa just had sex in the last time we saw them, they had sex, and she ran off on him. And they're still together, so here's our chance to see where they actually are going. So Dorian comes in and explains that he stopped by before, and they had told him Vanessa was ill, and she assures him that she's himself, and Dorian explains that he went traveling. When he invites her out, Vanessa tells him that it's impossible and starts to go, and Dorian tells her that he'll be waiting for her that afternoon at the gardens, but Vanessa dismisses him and walks out. So that was interesting right there. So Malcolm then goes to the gun shop, and the proprietor leads him into a back room. He shows him a prototype pistol with an automatic fire mechanism with high-velocity shells, and basically he has to get whatever sort of weapons he can to prepare for him and Vanessa going into that theater. He does not know what's going to happen to him in that theater. So, I mean, the smart thing to do, he definitely needed to do the smart thing there, because if he's going to be attacked or something, that definitely is a smart thing to do. So Malcolm recognizes her as Madame Kali from the seance, and that's the woman who performed the seance on Vanessa, if you remember, in the second episode, when the show got amazing, which it already was, but I'm just saying, the second episode seance, that was the same woman. And she actually explains that her real name is Evelyn Port, and I didn't ever think we'd see this character again. I knew we'd see her again at some point, but I completely forgot about her character. I really did. She explains her real name is Evelyn Port, and her late husband was a gun buff, and that's why she's buying a small pistol for her own protection. And Evelyn then flirts him, asking how long he will be gone on his own, on his newest expedition, and asks about Vanessa. And Malcolm claims that he doesn't know much of her, and says that he has to go, but assures her that they'll meet again. So, is there a possible relationship going between these two? I don't know. In season 2, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see what happens there, but definitely gonna be interesting to see what happens there. So Malcolm's loading his new gun, and Vanessa comes in and says that the photograph of Mina and Peter are gone. She doesn't know where it is, but it's gone, and Malcolm concedes that it is, and she then demands to know why he didn't want her on the ship, and the explorer says that he was trying to protect her, but Vanessa doesn't believe him and demands the truth. He finally admits that he would choose Mina over her and might even value the chance, but until then, he needs her to find Mina. As for the photograph, so Malcolm put it away because it broke his heart to see it, and he says that she will have to handle her guilt on her own. And Vanessa points out that they will both have guilt, but Malcolm says that he doesn't seek to free himself of it. She tells him to put the picture back and let it break his heart, and then walks away. So that was definitely really big, because, like, as we know, Vanessa's kind of like a second daughter to him, but as we saw in this episode, not really. This next scene is extremely important. It's very big, and I'm really wondering what's going to happen here. So Dorian's at the gardens, and Vanessa finds him there. He thanks her for coming, and Vanessa notes that the flower they admired a few days ago is fading. If you remember, that flower was the first time, signified the first time Vanessa and Dorian ever talked. The first time they ever talked was when that flower was there. So that flower is fading. As we know, Dorian can only stay young forever. So Dorian can only stay young. So is that flower indicating that Dorian's gonna die? I don't know. But I'm kind of thinking that's what that's indicating, because you know, the first time they were there, that flower was completely bright and everything, but now it's fading. So they walk together, and Dorian assures her that she doesn't owe him an explanation for fleeing from his house. And as he takes her hand, Vanessa says she's not the woman he thinks she is, or the woman she wants to be. It's too dangerous for him to be around her. She removes her hand from his, and says that the intimacy between them released something unhealthy in her. She's realizing that she can't really be with him because it's going to release the demon in her. As we know, she's possessed and everything, so she doesn't want to release that bad part of her out again, because just because the demon's out of her doesn't mean it can't work its way back into her. So she's just trying to forget about it and just remove it from her. And basically, Vanessa realizes that he's never felt as he does now, and Dorian admits that he doesn't know what he's feeling, and she kisses him and says that it's rejection, and then says goodbye. And Dorian's very puzzled after she says this, but he feels a tear at his eye, and he wipes it away. So that's the end of Dorian, I'm assuming. I guess that's just the end. We'll have to see what happens next year, but I'm assuming that's the end. I don't think that's the last we're going to see of Dorian, but that's the end of Dorian and Vanessa, so yeah. So the 5 adventurers break into the seemingly empty theater and begin their... Ethan goes to Guignol Regional after hours and finds Vanessa waiting for him. They share a cigarette, and Vanessa offers her condolences on Brona's death. Yes, Brona did die. I forgot to say that. And Malcolm, Victor, and Sabine arrive, and the explorer tells them to let him handle Mina because she is his responsibility. So the 5 adventurers, Ethan, Malcolm, Victor, and Sabine, and Vanessa... they all break into the seemingly empty theater, begin their search. Malcolm and Vanessa go up into the catwalks while the others make their way to the stage. Vanessa spots the vampire further up and aims the lamp, and Ethan and Malcolm draw their guns. A trap door beneath Ethan suddenly opens, dumping him into the basement, and just really, really intense shit going on. As I said, the first half of the episode was relatively quiet compared to this, which I really liked, actually. So female vampires charge him and he kills some of them, but another one grabs him, and Sabine jumps down to assist him, and Malcolm opens fire on the master, who scurries away. It's really a lot of shit going down. So Victor runs down to help his friend, shoots a vampire for the first time, bringing her down, and that was the vampire that they were supposed to kill. If you remember, there was that one creature in the first episode they didn't kill. They just killed it for the first time. So another one grabs him, but Sabine pulls her off and dispatches her. The vampire woman continues their assault, unrelenting, and Malcolm shoots the master in the shoulder, but it ducks away again, and the explorer reloads. It jumps down and confronts Vanessa, who brings it to a dead halt with her gaze, and as the master pauses, Malcolm draws his sword cane and stabs it in the chest, throws it over the side of the catwalk, and the explorer climbs down and stabs it fully in the heart in the basement. The other vampires collapse. And just as they threaten to overwhelm the 3 men, Vanessa comes down to join Malcolm. And this is really big, because I'm very interested in seeing where this is going to go. I'll get to this in a second, but we then see a dazed Mina and calling Vanessa's name. We think everything's okay. We think, okay, Mina's going to be fine. She's alive. It turns out, though, Mina's eyes turn black, and she grabs Vanessa by the throat, and Mina thanks Malcolm for bringing Vanessa and warns the others back. And Vanessa says that she can save Mina, but Mina says that she doesn't want to be saved. So Mina's possessed, but she doesn't want to be saved. So Malcolm calls on his daughter to remember who she really is and was meant to be. But Mina says that she is who she was meant to be. She says that they will all understand when the master transforms them into vampires, and that he will sire generations of vampires now that he has his bride, Mina. Mina then starts to bite Vanessa's throat, and Malcolm shoots her in the shoulder, knocking her to the floor, and as he stares her down in his daughter, Mina says that she is his daughter. Malcolm glances at Vanessa, says he already has a daughter, and shoots at Mina dead. So what? Is he trying to say Vanessa's like his daughter? I'm thinking what he's trying to say here is he's trying to make up for that time he was rude to Vanessa and telling her that she's more of a daughter to him than Mina will ever be, which is kind of true. And I think that was a very sweet scene, but that was definitely very interesting. And wow, that was a really great scene. I really enjoyed that scene. Wow, that was intense. And I'm really looking forward to seeing, I guess we're done with the whole Mina storyline. So yeah, I guess that's done. So later back at his home, Malcolm takes down his maps and for his next expedition, and Vanessa comes in. He admits that she was right and he was never going to go to Africa. He suggests they get a Christmas tree to fill the room, and Vanessa jokingly says that they can have the others over to decorate, and Malcolm breaks into tears and Vanessa hugs him, and it's very sweet between them, as we can see. Very, very sweet. So Vanessa then goes to a church, crossing herself, and walks to the altar, and Malcolm takes out his photograph of Peter and Mina. Now, why is he looking at this? I don't know. That's the last scene we see in the episode. Why is he looking at this photo? I really don't know. But then Vanessa asks to speak to the priest, and this was just really, really crazy. As we know, we saw that priest last week. The priest had to unpossess her last week, as we know, and, what ended up happening there. So yeah, the priest had to unpossess her, and he then escorts her into his office. She asks if he believes in possession, and the father says that he believes in the devil, and when he says that he does, he realizes that Vanessa is asking for an exorcism, which is really big. So who does he need to unpossess? And the priest says that he served in a village where the parish approved the right of the exorcism for a boy without seeking permission from Rome. And they all died without finding God, and the priest warns that is a long and grueling thing she asks, which could take months, if not years, and he tells Vanessa that she must answer one question. And this is really big. Does she really want to be normal? And Vanessa considers her answer. What? What? So is this trying to say that Vanessa is inhuman? I don't know what's going on here. I guess we'll just have to see. But that's a very important question, and it was a great cliffhanger, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where next season goes. But wow, that was a great main plot. I love the main plot in this episode. Let's get to the subplot. We focused a lot more on Caliban in this subplot and a lot less on Victor. Caliban was the star of this plot. I thought it was definitely very well done. So as we know, Caliban's at that theater, and he's watching as Vincent, Simon, and Maud rehearse for the evening's performance. And the line Caliban uses to pull Simon up jams, and when he runs down to clear it, Simon orders him to stay away from him. He tells Vincent to get Caliban to behave and orders Maud to leave with him. And after a moment, she goes with him, and Vincent assures Caliban that it's nothing. Caliban returns to his apartment beneath the stage and reads, and Maud comes down. As we know, he's got a little bit of a crush on Maud. He kind of likes Maud. And offers him an orange. He takes it, clearly uncomfortable, and Maud thanks him for the copy of Paradise Lost, and Caliban recites one of his favorite lines, then turns away. Maud apologizes for Simon's behavior. She admits that he makes her happy, and asks if Caliban is happy, and he says that happiness is for others. And Maud tells him that he doesn't have to hide his face from her, and says that she'll see him later. And before she goes, Maud then kisses Caliban on the forehead, walks away, and Caliban smiles. So, possibly you got, a nice relationship going down there. However, the next scene, at the theater, Caliban attempts to make himself look presentable with makeup, picks up the orange, goes to Maud's dressing room, and she bursts out laughing when she sees his face, and then says that he shouldn't have come in. And when Caliban says that Simon comes in there, Maud wonders how he knows what Simon does, and tells him to get out. And Caliban grabs her and tries to kiss her, and Maud struggles. He shoves her up against the wall and then walks out. I thought he was going to rape her, but that's not what happened. So yeah, that was really big right there. So, yeah, that was really big. So Maud complains to Vincent. The actor has no choice but to turn Caliban out. And Caliban thanks Vincent for his kindness, and the actor hugs him. And once the actor walks away, Caliban looks at the theater that has been his home, and he walks out, unaware that the rafters above the master is sleeping. So it's very interesting here, because, as we know, Caliban just wants a bride, and he was thinking Maud could be his bride, but obviously he then goes to Victor's laboratory and admits that he has nowhere else to go. And as we know, Caliban threatened Victor to kill off everyone, and Victor admits that he can't forgive him for the murder of Van Helsing or his request to create a bride for him. And as he stands behind his creation, Victor takes a revolver out of his bag and, aiming it, advances on Caliban. And I was wondering what he was going to do. I was wondering, is he actually going to kill his own creation? I was thinking that's the way he's out of this. I'm happy he didn't, because that would have been a really stupid way to end it. And Penny Dreadful does not do stupid shit, so I'm happy that they did that. So Caliban says that his face is merely a reflection of his heart, and that he would rather be unfeeling. He tells Victor to kill him and put him out of his misery. He wants him to kill him, but Victor takes pity on him and lowers the gun, puts a comforting hand on his shoulder, and that was really big. So before Caliban can say anything, there's a knock at the door, and Victor tells Creation to stay there and goes to answer the door. Now, I was pretty sure what was going to happen here. Ethan and Brona, by the way, Brona died. I said that before. I was pretty sure it was going to happen. It's, Ethan's at the door. And they go to the mariner, and Victor examines Brona, and he says that he can give her a sedative to ease her pain, but there's nothing else he can do. And Brona admits that she fears in her soul, and Victor, taking her hand, says that she has nothing to fear, and Victor asks Ethan to go outside and get him some fresh water. And once they're alone, Victor tells Brona that there's a piece of eternal rebirth between the living and the dead. He warns that there is a price to pay, but figures that she'll pay it easily. With that, Victor puts a pillow to her face and smothers her without Brona struggling. And Ethan comes back in, and Victor tells him it's over. And as Ethan goes back to Brona's body, obviously he had to kill Brona. He had no other choice but to do that. So it's really sad. But I was pretty sure what was going to happen from here, and that's exactly what did happen. Because what ended up happening was... basically, Victor shows Caliban Brona's corpse, and Caliban stares at it, enraptured as Victor goes back to work. So, it looks like, Caliban watches Victor operates on Brona, and it looks like we're doing the Bride of Frankenstein thing next year, which I was pretty sure was going to happen. I know a lot of you suggested that Brona was going to be, the Bride of Frankenstein, which is true. She is the Bride of Frankenstein. It's going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening there. So, that was definitely very, very interesting, and I really love the second plot. Let's get to the most surprising thing in this episode, which really was not that surprising, because I'm pretty sure we knew about this, but was still pretty big. Because Ethan goes to a bar, and as we know, Brona's dead, so he's upset, so he goes to a bar, because that's what people do when they're upset, they drink. Roper and Kid sit down on either side of him, and they address Ethan by his name, and they introduce themselves, and Roper says that Ethan's father is eager to see him. And they're actually with the Pinkertons, with orders to bring Ethan back. And Kid puts a set of heavy manacles on the bar in front of Ethan, and Roper advised him to come back peacefully. And Ethan smiles and says that he'll go peacefully, and this is really tense. He then attacks them, and once they're down, Ethan strolls out, and Roper tells Kid to track him. I was pretty sure that at this point, he was a werewolf. I mean, I was really sure that he was a werewolf, and... Then, back at that Mariner's Inn, Ethan is drinking and looks out the window at the ice-covered river, and Roper and Kid come in behind him, and when Roper tells him that the fun is over, Ethan, as if he thinks so, clutches at the edge of the table, and then transforms into a werewolf. He transforms into the Wolfman, I should say, and he attacks everyone. And that is just really, really big, and dazed Ethan huddles outside against the cold, so basically he is the Wolfman. That's pretty much what they're assuming here. But yeah, that was the season finale, and it was huge. It was just huge. I absolutely loved this finale. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And let's talk about what I think about the show. The show has been perfect from day one. From day one, this show has been perfect. I have had no issues with the show at all. Not even the first episode, which I know a lot of people did not really like. I love this entire show. I thought it was an amazing episode, and honestly, I feel like this show just got better and better every single week. I don't know about you guys, but this episode was just, wow, it was just so good. It really was, and the whole season was so good. And, there are a couple things that I want to talk about now, and a couple things I really want to, so let's just talk about them. So first of all, Vanessa being inhuman, what does this suggest? Is this suggesting that she is still possessed, or what is this suggesting? I'm pretty sure it suggests that either she is, inhuman, maybe she is, a creature of some sort that we haven't found out about yet, so we'll have to see what happens there, or she is still possessed by something. I'm thinking it's the latter, that she's still possessed by something, or she still has a demon inside of her, but it only comes out at certain points, like when she's really upset. That's when the demon comes out. I don't know about that, but I'm just assuming that's what it means. Caliban. Caliban was awesome in this episode. I thought he was really, really amazing in this episode, and what's going to happen now that Brona is going to be his bride? I was pretty sure that was going to happen, because Brona was dying. It pretty much made sense. I knew it was either going to be Brona or possibly Mina. That's what I was thinking. Brona or Mina was going to end up being the bride of Frankenstein. That's what I was personally thinking was going to happen. Is this whole Mina thing over? I don't think it's over, because Malcolm was looking at a photo of Mina and Peter. Is next season going to be Malcolm trying to find his son? As we know, he lost his son, but we'll have to see what happens there next season. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Ethan now being the Wolfman, I pretty much predicted it. I'm pretty sure we all knew he was the Wolfman. It's not that surprising to me, because we pretty much thought that. The way they revealed it, though, and the way they didn't, tell you a lot was really, really awesome. Really looking forward to seeing where that goes into the show. A couple other things next season. The promo for season 1 suggested we meet Dracula, and that never happened. So, are we going to meet Dracula next season? They pretty much have to introduce him, because the show is based on Penny Dreadfuls, which, are tragic horror stories, and Dracula is one of them. Also, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They have to introduce those two next year. I'm thinking next season's going to be, all vampires of Dracula and things like that. This is going to be really awesome if that's what next season is. That would be really, really cool. So, yeah. But I have to commend everyone in the show. The acting was awesome. Eva Green better get nominated for Best Actress, because she is amazing in the show. She better get nominated, because she's just really, really awesome in the show. Dorian. What's going to happen with Dorian? Do you think Dorian's dying? I'm pretty sure Dorian's dying. I just have this feeling that he is dying. It makes sense to me. I don't know. I feel like Dorian could be dying, and we'll have to see what happens there. But I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen with Dorian. I'm pretty sure that he could be dying. I guess we'll just have to see what ends up happening there. What else do I want in this show? I guess my only complaint with the show was Sembene. Really didn't get to see much of his backstory, but I feel like next year we're going to find out more about his past and things like that, so we'll have to see more about Sembene next year. But this finale was amazing. It was perfect. I had no problems with it at all. I've had no problems with the show at all. I think the show overall has been perfect, in my opinion. I've had no problems at all with this entire show. I've been really into this show from day one. And this is probably my favorite summer show. I absolutely love this show. I did not expect to love it as much as I did. When I first heard about the show coming out, I was looking forward to it, of course, but not as much as I expected to. And I love this show. I can't wait for it to come back next season, which will have 10 episodes next season, not 8, and I'm really looking forward to it next season. And as I know, they said that after season 1 ended, they will start production on season 2 right away, as we know that. So that's very interesting. So that's it for my review of Penny Dreadful for you guys for this year, unfortunately. I'm going to miss watching this show this year, but really looking forward to next season. That's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for the new episode of *Halt and Catch Fire*. So I'll see you guys for that. Actually, no, yeah, the new episode of *Halt and Catch Fire*. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.